Hello, this is Saki from Saki Tech. In today's video, I will share over 50 plus tips and tricks for the LG G4 smartphone. Whether you already own this fantastic phone or want to get one, these tips and tricks will enhance your overall understanding and experience of the LG G4. It is a feature-rich phone and you're gonna love it. So let's dive right in. Alright, so tip number one, you double tap the screen to wake up the device and you simply unlock it. And you can also double tap on the screen to turn off the device, which is very convenient. Now, LG G4 comes with something called the glance view. The glance view allows you to get a quick glance of information on the lock screen, but to enable it, you have to have screen security enabled. So if you go into the device, quickly go into settings, and from here, also while we are here, I'm going to show you something really quick. So this is the list view of the menu. Alrighty? If you tap this button over here, you can go into the tab view. We're going to stick to the tab view for this demonstration. So let's go back to the lock screen glance view. So let's go over to display, go to lock screen, and enable a screen lock. Okay, let's just do a pin real quick. Just want to show you guys how this works. Next. Next. Alrighty, so now we have a screen lock enabled. Let's turn off the device. So what I can do now is I can swipe on the screen from top to bottom to pull down a quick glance. Now when you're doing this, you have to make sure your finger stays in touch with the screen at all times. So tap on the screen, swipe down, and that's your quick glance, and you let it go, and the quick glance in fact disappears. Remember, to enable the quick glance, you have to have screen lock enabled. Any kind of screen lock will do. Now while we're in the subject of the lock screen, I'm going to show you a couple of things. So when you go into the lock screen, and you unlock the screen, you get a nice effect. You can change these effects and pick various different styles. So all you have to do is, again, go to settings, go to display, and go into lock screen, and from here choose the option that you want. You got screen swipe effect option. You tap this and you can pick circle mosaic, you can do light particle, or you can do vector circle, and let's see how many more we have here. And we have the soda effect right here. Okay, so let's take a look at the circle mosaic real quick. So let's go back out, power off, power on, do a swipe, and as you can see, that was a different effect, and you also get a different sound to go with the effect. Now back in the lock screen at the bottom here, you've got some quick shortcuts to some applications that you may need. You can customize this menu over here. Alrighty, so let's unlock, go into settings, go to lock screen under display, and then simply go to the shortcuts right over here. You tap the shortcuts, and from here you can change what you want to show on the lock screen at the bottom. So just simply tap on the settings icon, and from here you can pick the clock, for example. And if you don't want the quick memo, tap on the settings, replace it with the Chrome browser, and then click save, and then go back out, turn off, turn on. Now you've got the clock and the Chrome browser as you desired. Now here's one of my favorite tips. If you go into the messaging application, and if you just pull up a random person, what you can do is you can individually customize the background theme for that person. So if I go into settings, tap that button and click change theme, and from here I can change the theme from some of the preset images. I can change the bubble styles. I can pick a different bubble style just like that. And if I go back to wallpaper, you can also pick any picture you want from your gallery, or take a brand new picture and set that as the background for that person's conversations. Click OK. So now for this particular contact, every single time I have a conversation with this person in my messaging application, this is the background, and that is the actual bubble style that I'm going to retain. Now if I go back out, and if I go to settings over here from the main screen, I can go to settings, and I can do the same exact thing. If I go into general, I can go to conversation theme, and from here I can change the conversation theme for the entire contact base. Okay, so when I do this, this applies to every other conversation If I create a new text message, it is going to use this as a default. So let me show you an example. Let's go right in here, and let's tap this. And when I click OK, it's going to give me a quick warning. It's going to say all conversation themes will be changed except individually set themes. So if I have individually set themes for individual people, this is not going to change that unless I uncheck this box. If I check it and I click yes, if I go back out, if I go into this conversation, this is the one I just picked, but I still have the unique theme for this contact. Okay, and to change themes uniquely, you simply have to go into the contact, tap the settings, and change the theme right from the conversation you're having with that particular person. And one more great customization tip is when you transition from one window to the other, you get a nice transition effect. Now you can actually change these effects, alrighty? So what you want to do is you want to go to settings, go to display, go to home screen, and simply choose what kind of swipe effect you want performed when you do a transition. So let's go over here, and you have a bunch of different options. Let's do panorama. Click OK. Go back out, and now you get the panorama effect. Alrighty, let's go back and take a look at one more. Settings, home screen, swipe effect. Let's do carousel. Okay, and as you can see, when you make a change, it shows you the effect. So that was the breeze effect. That's the carousel effect right there. Okay, so if you go back out, you can see that in real time. It's not going to work when you're going to the smart bulletin. I'm going to talk about the smart bulletin in a minute, but this is going to basically work between your regular home screens. And one more thing you can do with the home screen is if you go into settings, go right back to display, home screen. At the bottom, it says allow home screen looping. If you disallow this and go back out, basically you cannot loop through the home screens in an unlimited fashion. So if I go over here, this is where I stop. That's because all I have is 1, 2, 3 main screens. Okay, so if you go into the settings, home screen, and you allow looping, then you can simply loop through these things forever. I'm going to show a quick tip with the camera. We're going to come back to the camera and look into some more details. But if you launch the camera, on the top here you have a settings icon. If you tap that, from here you can enable or disable voice controls. Okay, so if I enable this, it's going to give me a little window pop-up telling me what I can do. So I can do things like I can say cheese, and that's going to take a picture just by using my voice. So if I go back in here and I say cheese, boom, you got a picture. And then you can use the other options over here as well. So it's not just cheese. You can say cheese, smile, whiskey, LG, and that's going to take a picture as well. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to combine this with the timer effect. So here's the timer. Let's set it for 3 seconds and say cheese. And that's going to combine voice controls with the self timer so you can have some nice control over your camera without having to touch it. Now, one fantastic feature that the LG G4 has is if you press and hold anywhere on the screen, it brings up the customization menu for the home screens. If you go into the wallpapers, you have this option called, let's see, the multi-photo wallpapers. Let me show you what that means. So if you tap multi-photo, on the first page of your home screen, you can have this background, and on the second page, you can have this background, and if you have a third page, you can add another different background. Let me apply, and you can see exactly what I mean. So this is my first page right here. My second home screen has a different wallpaper. This is an absolutely fantastic customization feature. Okay, different wallpapers for each home screen. Imagine the possibilities. Now, if your phone was turned off and you were walking down the street and you quickly want to take a photo, all you have to do is double tap the volume down button on the camera in the back twice. Alrighty? And when you do that, when you double tap the volume button, it's going to launch the camera really quick and actually take a picture, okay? And then the camera is going to stay there so you can take another picture. But remember, when you double tap the volume down button, it launches the camera and actually takes a quick shot. So let's take a look at the notifications panel. If you pull this thing down, you've got this beautiful notifications panel. And let's talk about this a little bit. Now, first of all, you've got your quick toggles here. So if you want a flashlight, you can tap that and it's going to turn on your flashlight. You can turn on and off your Wi-Fi. So if I didn't want Wi-Fi, I tap this, it turns off the Wi-Fi. If I tap it again, it turns it on. And if I long tap it, it goes into the detailed settings for Wi-Fi. Okay, let me turn that on. And that's possible with every single quick toggle. So if I go over here and I want to go into the detailed settings of Bluetooth, I simply press and hold, and that's going to take me into the detailed settings. Okay, so going back over here, as you can see, you have a lot of quick toggles here, which you can edit them. Let me go back here. Go down, scroll all the way to the left, and click Edit. And from here, you can actually enable and disable the quick toggles that you do not need, and you can also rearrange them. So let me pull this down really quick. On the side over here, as you can see, I've got the quick memo, the Q slide, and the Wi-Fi, and the flashlight. And that's the same order you're going to find right here. So if I want to put the flashlight all the way in the beginning, I tap and hold and drag and drop it to the top. And now, after I go back, the flashlight comes into the first position. I can also disable these two things right here. That's the volume control, that's the brightness control. If I go back into the edit, right over here, I can take the brightness off and the volume off. So if I go back out, they're both gone. Very customizable. And of course, on the top here, you got a blue icon. It's the icon of a person. If you tap this, you can add multiple users, but you can also go to settings directly from here. It takes you into the settings for users. As you know, Android allows you to add multiple users on one phone, so you can have different accounts for yourself, maybe for your girlfriend, maybe for your kid, etc. Now, LG G4 has some impressive multitasking capabilities. Let me show you the one that's most interesting. If you pull down the notifications panel, you have an option there called Q Slide. If you tap Q Slide, it brings up a list of apps that you can use as Q Slides. Now, what is Q Slide? Let's tap on the messaging application, and it's going to bring a little version of the messaging application that simply floats on the screen as a separate window. You can move it around, you can resize it, you can reduce the opacity of this thing so you can see it better or not better, and you can also, let's maximize that, you can also close it out, but the thing is that you can actually interact with it. So if I want to send an email, I'm saying a message to somebody, I say type it in, click send, and it's gone. And then I can exit out or simply put it to the side. And the other thing you can do is you can have multiple Q Slides open at all times. So let's tap this, and let's pull the panel down and tap the video. So now I have the video player and the messaging application on my screen. Okay, and I can maximize it by tapping this button, and I can close it by tapping that button. So that's the Q Slide multitasking option for you guys. Now we have one more multitasking option called the dual window. You can have two separate windows on the screen at the same time and do multitasking between both. So tap this recent apps home button at the bottom, click dual window, choose the first app you want to use. Let's just choose messaging, and then choose the second app you want to use. Let's just use the gallery. Okay, so now we have the messaging application on the top and the gallery application at the bottom, and I can interact with all these guys completely separately, as you can see. Now, one more tip that has to do with the volume buttons on the back of the device is if your phone is turned off and you want to take a quick memo, what you want to do is you want to double tap the volume up key twice very fast, and that's going to bring up the quick memo option, and you can quickly take a note, save it to wherever you want it, and move on. So at the bottom here, you've got the home buttons that have some basic functionalities. You can actually extend the functionality, you can rearrange these buttons, and you can add more buttons at the bottom here. Now the first thing I'm going to show you guys is, if you press and hold the recent apps button, which is the square button, it's going to bring up a menu. From this menu, you can go into the system settings, lock screen settings, home screen settings. You can change the theme of your device. You can also add apps and widgets, which is the regular customization screen. But let me go in here. So let me go to settings real quick. And under display, go to home touch buttons. If you tap this guy, from here, you can change the button combination, but you can also change the color. So I can tap this, and I can pick the black color. And as you can see, now we have a black background on the home buttons. And if I click the button combinations, I can actually change these, the arrangement. So let's take the recent apps, drag and drop, put it right there. As you can see at the bottom, the square is in the middle. Well, not the middle, but on this side now. I can also drag and drop, take this, put it right over here. By the way, this guy here is pretty amazing, this notification toggle. If you grab this and you put it right here, let's put this over here, perfect. If you tap this, it brings down the notification center. If you tap it again, it sends it right back up. And you have other things like the quick memo, the dual window, and the queue slide that you can simply drag and drop here. You can have a maximum of 5. Okay, so let me drag and drop. But that's it, that's the limit. You can have 5 of these guys at the bottom here. If you don't need them, grab it, put it out there, grab it, put it right out there, and you've got the stock version right there. And just to quickly show you guys, when we press and hold the recent apps button, it gives you an option that says theme. If you tap the theme, this allows you to change the theme of your entire LG phone. Now to get the theme, you have to go to LG Smart World and just browse the theme that you like, download it, and just simply install it. So if I go back here, if I go back down here, as you can see, we have some themes. Tap it, and then from here you can download any theme and then simply apply it to your LG phone. Just so you guys know, you do need an LG account to be able to download themes from LG Smart World Marketplace. Now when you guys get a text message, if somebody calls you or you miss a call, what happens is your phone gives you LED notifications on the top. You can customize those notifications. What you want to do is you want to go to settings and go to sound and notifications and scroll down to where it says LED notifications. Now first and foremost, you can turn this off or on. But if you tap here, you can go into some details and you can enable or disable LED notifications for different things. So if you don't want battery charging LED to show up, disable it. If you miss a call or a message and you don't want your LED blinking, just disable it. Okay? And if you want them, just re-enable these guys. And once you re-enable it, it's going to show you exactly what it's talking about. So that's going to be a red LED notification, just like that. For missed calls, this is what's going to happen. And for incoming calls, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be a green LED notification. Now going right back inside, there's one more thing over here. When you have a lock screen enabled and you don't want people to see your notifications for privacy reasons, you can tap this and you can simply hide all notifications on the lock screen. This is only useful if you have actually a password or a PIN set up, because otherwise people can just unlock the phone and go right in. But if you have a PIN enabled or any kind of security enabled, you can simply hide all notifications so nobody has to see your private information. Now when somebody calls you, you get an LED notification as long as you have LED notifications enabled. There's a really nice feature that a lot of people don't know about. So if I go to my phone and I pull up a random number, let's just go to this guy right here, or girl. If you scroll down, it says the notification LED is default green. I can actually change, assign a color to this person. So when I get a call, the LED is going to blink a certain color. You click edit, you scroll down, you tap notification LED, and you can simply click any color that you want. Let's do red. So when they call me, I'm going to get a red notification LED, or I can do orange. As you can see, it's turned into orange or pink. Okay, so click OK, click Save. When you go back down here, as you can see, the default notification LED has now changed to pink for that particular contact. And you can do this for every single contact that you have. Now let's quickly look at the camera. When you launch the camera application, you've got a couple buttons here. You got the settings button here that allows you to change the settings, such as enable or disable the grid, enable or disable the timer, or the voice controls, and other stuff right over here. Over here you've got the mode. This allows you to switch to panorama mode, dual mode, which uses the back camera and the front camera at the same time, so you can see your own face while you're also taking another picture, and it's going to take a dual picture of your face and what you're looking at. And then over here we have another settings. This is what I want to talk about. So you have a simple mode. With the simple mode, all you have to do is tap on the screen and it's going to take a picture, as you can see. With the non-simple mode, the auto mode, you have some basic visuals on the screen. But if you go to manual mode, simply everything has been manualized. So you can control the ISO. You tap that and you can change the ISO. Okay, you can control the focus, so you can manually focus or automatically focus. Okay, so right over here. You can change the shutter speed, and this is only appealing to photographers that know what I'm talking about. And the other thing you can do is, on the top here it says JPEG. You can actually save pictures in RAW and JPEG format at the same time. Again, if you're a photographer, you know what I mean. And then we can go back to JPEG just by tapping this. Okay, so you can save in RAW or JPEG or both. So here's a couple more nice tips to allow you guys to manage your phone better. So if you go into the settings, go to General, and under General look for the phone management title. Under here you've got things like storage, battery, smart cleaning, apps. Let's look at smart cleaning really quick. Smart cleaning allows you to free up space by cleaning apps and files. So if you tap it, it gives you a nice presentation, and by using the information on the screen you can decide to free up some space. So tap this button right here, click settings, and you have some more options to customize that feature. But if you tap over here, you can simply clean all the temporary files, and that's going to give you some extra space in case you guys are running short on space. But as you can see, it's also telling you you're using 10% of your total storage. You've got 20 gigabytes left and you're using 2 gigs already. And if I tap this again, I can simply clean all the files that I downloaded, but I want to keep the files. So be careful when you're using this. You don't want to delete everything. You just want to selectively delete stuff you don't need. Alright, so if you go to battery and power saving, you get some really useful information. It gives you an estimated time remaining based on how you have been using your phone. So if you tap this, tap the battery usage, and it gives you a nice graph. It says this is how long you've been on battery life, this is how long I think you're going to have battery, and if you scroll down, it tells you what portion of your phone is using most battery. So in my case, the screen has been using 72% of the total battery that has been exhausted so far. And at the bottom here, we got the battery saver mode at 15%. This will kick in automatically, and if you tap it, you get some more details. Go back out. You also have a game optimizer mode, which is going to adjust the video quality to save battery. So if you have low battery and you're playing a graphically demanding game, it's going to reduce the quality of the graphics to save you some battery life. Alrighty, go back out. Go right back into storage. If you tap this, This is simply your storage management. It tells you exactly what you have, how much is available, and how much is being used based on these categories. Now if you scroll down and if you tap on cached data, it's going to give you the option to delete it, and if you do, you're going to get some more space. Now, I don't have to delete it right now. It's 1.3 megabytes is nothing. But if this was 1 gigabyte, I could have deleted these files because a gig is a lot. Now if you go back into settings, and if you go to display, and if you scroll down to where it says font, as you can see, you can change the font type and the size of your device, in your device. So if I tap this, I can make them larger to see them easier. If you tap this, I can pick a different font, and that's going to change the fonts for the entire scheme of the phone. So if I go back out, you're going to see that coffee font showing up everywhere. Okay? And finally, let's talk about the smart bulletin. So if I scroll over to this side over here, I've got a bunch of live cards that I can either use to control stuff or just look at it and get some useful, relevant information. So on the top here, we got the music controller. If I press play, it's going to start the music. Pause. I can go to the next track. Okay, and as you can see, it's live. So whatever I do here reflects the change on the card itself. And if I go down here, this is the calendar, so it gives me a quick glance of today's schedule. I seem to be very free in the next couple hours. And then if you go down here, you've got the quick remote. And you can add a remote to control your TV. And if you go into the settings over here, you can add some more cards that we have available right now. And you can also turn the smart bulletin off if it annoys you. Okay? Now once you turn it off, it's gone. If you want to put it back on, you go to settings, go to display, go to home screen, and turn it back on right over here under home screen options. Okay? So just so you guys know, this is not intrusive at all. It's not laggy. I kind of like it, so I keep it for the most basic functions. But that's all it is. Alright, so that brings us to the end of this video. Now you're an expert on the LG G4. Subscribe to my channel for more videos to come, and hit that thumbs up button if you like this video. Have a great day. Saki out.